Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k. It's the 20th of December today, only 5 days until Christmas Day, and we're of course continuing on with our countdown to Christmas, or Christmas Eve, with our daily videos. Now so far we've been looking at all sorts of comparisons between Necrons and Tyranid units. We've had a few top 10s, we've had a who outslays who and all that kind of stuff. Today we are going to be doing another one of who kills who. And this time we're going to be looking at another one of the Catans, which is the Catan shard of the Void Dragon, going up against the Norn Emissary. Now this one wasn't in my plans, and there was a lot of comments that were asking for this video, so you know what, I've deleted one of the other ones and I've basically gone for this one today. So we're going to go through this video. Before we do guys, if you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so, it does me a huge favour. And the bigger the channel, of course, the bigger the giveaways we'll have on this channel. We've of course got our giveaway that is still ongoing for the rest of the month. I think there might be another giveaway at some point in the near future. So yeah, watch out for that one. But let's get back into this one. The Void Dragon, 270 points versus the Norn Emissary with 290 points. So the Void Dragon, 20 points cheaper. What do you think is going to win this one? Who do you think will win this one? So this is of course who kills who. This isn't a who outslays who or who outshoots who. Both of these units, both of these monsters have range attacks as well as melee attacks. So we're going to kind of combine them both together. So let's go through the basics first. The Void Dragon, movement of 6 inches, toughness 11, 4 plus armor, 12 wounds, leadership 6 plus, object control is 4. Got a 4 plus invulnerable save, halves all damage, feel no pain of a 5 plus, and of course reanimation protocols. I put this in this section here because they're the key elements that we're going to need when fighting against a Void Dragon. Now the Norn Emissary on the other hand, movement of 10 inch, toughness 11, 2 plus armor, 16 wounds, leadership 7 plus, OC is 5, and the invulnerable save is a 4 plus. So no feel no pain save naturally there, the same toughness, better armor save although the invulnerable save is the same, and has 4 wounds more than the Void Dragon. Now I wanted to point this bit out here because there's an ability that the Norn Emissary has. Let's just go through it and I'll explain. In fact, there's 2 abilities, but with one of them you've got to select one. So at the start of the battle, start of the first battle round, select one of the following. So either you're getting to select one enemy unit in the entire game, and you're going to get to reroll all your hit rolls and all your wound rolls against that unit for the entire battle. That's option 1. Option 2, you select one objective marker, then until the end of the battle. If you're on the objective marker with the Norn Emissary, you get the 5 plus feel no pain save, and objective control goes to 15. Now, usually, I pick the second option. I select a no man's land objective, rush it forward, get onto that objective marker. I've then got OC 15, which is madness, and a feel no pain of a 5 plus, which is beautiful. Normally, you're having to spend enhancement points and all that kind of stuff to get that. That's the standard go-to. Now for this video, I'm doing the opposite, and I'm kind of going against my sort of brain here, but first of all, we can't guarantee that we're going to be fighting on an objective. Second of all, we can select an enemy unit throughout the entire battle, which we will be selecting the Void Dragon in this case. So the first one applies more to this video, however, I do massively rate the other one even more. So I just wanted to get that in there, slight disclaimer, slight, trying to make you understand why I've selected that one. There's also the feel no pain of a 4 plus against mortal wounds. I don't believe the Void Dragon dishes out mortal wounds, so that one's not really that useful. The Void Dragon also has some abilities that relate to vehicles. Again, it's not that relevant, so I'm not going to go through it. So let's get into the actual ranged and melee attack of the Void Dragon. In the bottom right of this screen here, I've put the Norn Emissary's actual statistics that we're going to be coming up against. So the Spear of the Void Dragon, anti-vehicle, don't worry about it, we're not fighting vehicles. Only one shot, hitting on 2, strength 4, minus 3 AP, d6 plus 2 damage. So it is only a one-shot thing, but you're meant to really be firing at vehicles, because you're hitting on 2s, then you're virtually wounded on 2s, and bang, you're doing damage. We're going to still use it, of course. You've then got the Voltaic Storm, which has Blast, not relevant really here. Stayed hits 2, which is relevant. d6 plus 3 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 7, minus 1 AP, 2 damage. More of an anti-Space Marine kind of killer. You get lots of attacks, Blast obviously helps, you're wounded on 3s, and 2 damage is all you need. Again, we're going to use it. The melee side is more, it's stronger suit here. You've got 2 profiles with the Spear of the Void Dragon. We're going to be using the top one, which is the Strike profile. Anti-vehicle, don't worry about it. 5 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 12, minus 3 AP, d6, plus 2 damage. You've then got extra attacks, which are 6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, minus 1 AP, 1 damage. Maybe just a little extra anti-infantry attacks there. We'll use them. The main one there is that strike attack, because it's strength 12 and d6 plus 2 damage. Now, all in all, I've done all the averages of camera. The averages of the ranged attacks, so purely ranged weapons here, you're getting 2.1. Now, in fact, let me just go back a step. What we're going to be doing in this video, we're just going to be presuming that these models are within 12 inches of each other, because they're going to also obviously have a fight as well. They're going to need to have a charge move going off at some point. So all the weapons are going to be within range. So that's not going to be a factor in this video, although it will be in other situations. But for this, probably for this video, we are going to stick with them being within 12. So yeah, 2.1 damage from the actual weaponry, the ranged weapons. And it's actually 8.2 damage coming from the melee weapons, mainly because of that strength 12 with d6 plus 2 damage. That is quite nasty, especially going up against toughness 11, because you're wounded on 3s. So that is a total damage outlay from shooting and fighting of 10.3. Obviously doesn't kill the Norn Emissary, because the Norn Emissary has 16 wounds. And if the Catan was to survive until the next round, you know, the fight phase and so on, of course, once they're in engagement range, they're still going to be able to fire. But I'm pretty certain that within 2 turns, the Norn Emissary is going. Now let's get on to the Norn Emissary side. Remember, he's going to have all the hit rolls re-rolling and all the wound rolls re-rolling, because that's the one we selected from the ability. So let's go through these range attacks first. So this is one main weapon, but you get to select from 3 different profiles. Now, I've already done all the maths already off camera. The main one to be using here is the Neuro Lance, which is Melter 2. It's psychic, but that's not really relevant. So it's got range of 18, not relevant at the moment. 2 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 12, minus 3 AP, d6 damage. Melter 2. That's the range weapon that you would be using against the Catan. The other ones aren't as potent. I mean, the first one, which was the Neuroparasite, did an average of 0.72, and the Neuroblast did an average of 1.26. So it wasn't really doing it. So we're going to stick with the Neuro Lance and the melee weapons. You've got 2 here, the Monstrous Simon Talons, which are 6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 9, minus 2 AP, 3 damage. Also with the Monstrous Rending Claws, 4 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 7, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. Now what we need to remember is we need to halve all damage, unfortunately. So all the damage characteristics of all these weapons need to be halved. They do round up. So as an example, the Monstrous Scything Talons are damage 3. They'll round to 1.5, which will round up to 2. So they are damage 2. The Monstrous Rending Claws will go to 1. The D6 is effectively D3 at that point if you do it on an average. The interesting one is a Neuroparasite, which we're not actually using. D3, if you roll a 3, it becomes a 2. If you roll a 2, it becomes a 1. If you roll a 1, it stays a 1. So it's more likely to be a 1, but there is a chance of it becoming a 2. But we're not using that weapon anyway. So yeah, we've got to get through the toughness 11, 12 wounds, 4 up in one save, feel no pain of a 5+, halving damage, and then reanimation protocols if this thing survives. It's a lot. The average damage of the Neuro Lance was 2. In fact, it was slightly less, but I bumped it up to 2. This wasn't any science, maths, or anything like that. I know that's not exactly what you're supposed to do, but because it's D6 damage and you have to half the damage, you've got to take into account the odd numbers. So, for example, if there's damage 3, if you roll a 3, that will only go down to a 2. It wouldn't be halved. If you roll a 5, it'll only go down to damage 3, because 2.5 is half of 5, but it rounds up. So just by purely halving it doesn't necessarily give the exact figure, and I'm not smart enough with the maths to make it exact. So I've just rounded it up to 2. It was 1.7 or something. It may even be slightly higher than that, but I've just gone with 2. And the melee weapons, 2.8. So in total, you're looking at 4.8, maybe 5 damage. Again, it's not an exact one there, but it's a lot less than what the Catan did. However, the Norn Emissary does have 4 extra wounds. So it's not far off. There is another big however, which happens quite a lot in these videos, is that reanimation protocols does kick in once the Catan Shard actually has their turn, and that will be D3 wounds returned. So unless the Catan Shard charged and fought first, which is unlikely because they've only got a 6-inch movement, it means that the Norn Emissary is most likely charged, which means the Necron player's command phase is coming right up. So that's not great for Tyranids there. I mean, I found a few problems with the Norn Emissary here versus this Catan. First of all, the main weapon here is the Neuro Lance. There's only 2 attacks. If you go back to the Catan Shard's main weapon, which was the melee weapon in fact, the strike weapon, Sphere the Void Dragon, there was 5 attacks. at strength 12. Whereas the best weapon here is only 2 attacks. So already that's a huge downer. That's the first problem I'm seeing. The second problem is strength 9. Strength 9 with one of the bigger weapons, you know, the main bulk of the attacks is only strength 9. Going up against toughness 11 isn't, you know, you're wounded on 5s. It isn't going to do enough. Even with the rerolls, it's not going to do enough. And that is just a general Tyranid problem. I think, I've said it numerous times now, I think the heavy venom cannons need to go up to sort of 11 or 12. The monstrous scything talons I think could go up to strength 10 and 11, even 12. Strength 9 is just nowhere near enough in this edition. In 9th edition, that might have been great. 10th edition, all the toughness is, even a rhino is like toughness 10, isn't it, or something? So it's not even wounding a rhino, it's wounding a rhino on 5s. That's how bad it is. It needs to be improved. There's a third problem here, we've kind of already alluded to it. It's the Necron's abilities or reanimation protocols and the Necrodermis ability to half all damage. So with those 3 problems combined, that is why the Norn Emissary is failing. Now there are things to include here. We didn't include any synergy. Maybe the Catan Shard was battle shocked, maybe it was Shadow in the Warp. There's all sorts of shenanigans you can do with battle shocked units. So maybe that could have come into play. Maybe the detachment was the Crusher Stampede detachment, so you could maybe add 1 to your wound rolls. You don't really need the 1 to the hit rolls because you're already hitting on 2s. There's also the Massive Impact stratagem, which is effectively monster tank shock. You've got lethal hits from the invasion fleet maybe, that could have been quite useful. There's also rapid regeneration from that same detachment to have a feel no pain save, which we actually got rid of at the start. There's also the Assimilation Swarm to be healing our Norn in battle. And there's also Secure Biomass, which is a stratagem to grant lethal hits again. In fact, the singular purpose ability that we swapped, well, we selected at the very start of the game, at the very start of the video, where we selected to have all the full rerolls, we could have instead opted to have the 5+ feel no pain save, I know C15 or whatever it was, but then we would lose our damage output, which was already, you know, under par compared to the Void Dragon. We would lose all those rerolls. The rerolls to hits aren't as important because you hit on 2s. The rerolls to wounds I think were important. So the damage output wouldn't actually be as strong. So I think inevitably it would be the same result. Yeah, you might be a little bit more tougher for a few turns, but you're not throwing out enough damage. So inevitably I think the Catan wins. The Catan doesn't need any detachment buffs, doesn't need any character buffs, it literally works solo and it's 20 points cheaper as well. So this video I'm going to be handing it to the Catan Shard. So guys, I'll see you tomorrow, 21st of December. Yeah, thank you for watching.